If your event agenda isn't built for humans, it might be hurting your engagement. Here are 4 questions to ask yourself to make sure that you are designing your event agenda with your attendees in mind. But before we get into those questions, aloha, my name is Megan Nolan and I help event professionals to 10x attendee energy in just 3 minutes with my Power Pause method. We'll talk more about power pauses in a moment. Let's get to those 4 questions. Because you might be thinking at this point, well, of course I design my agenda with humans in mind. Well, if you aren't asking yourself these specific questions, then you may not be factoring in the natural biological rhythms and needs of the bodies, brains, and nervous systems of your attendees. That's what I mean by designing your events from a human-first perspective, which may seem obvious and may seem simple, but when you think about it and when you think about these questions, you might realize, oopsie, maybe I have been missing the mark just slightly, and that's okay. When we know better, we do better. So let's get into the questions. 1, how would you like your attendees to feel during and especially after your event? How would you like them to feel? Right? Probably excited and happy and ready and receptive and inspired and all of those things. So what are you doing to make sure that that happens throughout? And more importantly, are you asking them how they would like to feel? That's very important, right? We want personalization. We want input, right? And that will really help you to, again, design your agenda, to weave in moments that will help encourage them and hopefully bring them to a place where they do feel that particular way. Okay, so that's question number 1. How would you like your attendees to feel during and after your event? Very important to consider, right? Because we can't just slap something on the beginning and the end and expect that it's going to accomplish the mission if we're not weaving that in throughout the full experience, into the storyline, into the theme, into the agenda. Okay, I think I got my point. Number 2. How long are your attendees sitting for? Well, most of the day. Yeah, exactly. The human body is not designed to sit. Sitting is actually a stressor for the human body, which we need to adapt to. And when we are experiencing a stressor, it triggers, you guessed it, stress in the nervous system. When the nervous system is signaling stress from the body to the brain activity shifts. We shift into a part of our brain called the amygdala, which is not focused on creativity and imagination and connection and problem solving. Nope. The amygdala is focused on threat detection. So if we are placing our attendees in chairs and having them sit for extended periods of time, we're working against their biological need for movement. Movement encourages blood flow to the whole body and, of course, to the brain. When we have movement, we have better information retention, we have better attention and focus and creativity and inspiration, all because of what it's doing to the nervous system. Right? It's helping to regulate the nervous system and therefore shift brain activity, bringing the prefrontal cortex back online, which is where the magic happens in the brain. So how long are you having people sit for? Right? Are we working against those natural cycles of energy that happen every 90 minutes, right? There's a shift in brain activity at a 90-minute mark, and that's when the body needs a break to re-energize and invigorate itself so that we can absorb the information that we just received. Okay? So that's number 2. How long are people sitting for? Because after all, it's human first, right? Not rocks. And I mean, you can do beautiful things with rocks, but it's not a room full of rocks. It's a room full of humans. And so they need to move to satisfy that biological need for movement. Okay? And it doesn't have to be like crazy jumping jacks. That's where power pauses come in. They're super effective at boosting energy and engagement quickly through movement, through nervous system guided tools that encourage that higher level of invigoration. Okay, so question number 3, moving along. Are your sessions and your segments designed for content or connection, or both? What we want to make sure is that we're not just talking at people for extended periods of time, bypassing the natural rhythms, overloading their brains, not giving their brains what it needs to truly be focused and clear-headed and absorb the information. Are you bringing in moments of connection? With AI infiltrating all aspects of our life, connection is now more important than ever. Connection to self is essential for regulation of the nervous system. Connection to others is essential for co-regulation of the nervous system. And so I would say that not only is this essential, it's actually vital, because a thriving, regulated, resilient nervous system is vital for longevity and sustainability and enjoyment of life. So how are you designing your sessions? That's question number 3. Are you integrating moments of connection and engagement? Because that's really what one of the main things people come for, is those moments that they will remember, that are so invigorating and so exciting and have shared ritual and shared moments and shared appreciation. That is really vital. So question number 4, last one. What is happening after lunch? What is happening after lunch? And a side note to that question, what are you feeding people for lunch? Because that's also very important, but not a topic for today. But when people come back into session with a very full belly, you know what happens. You've seen it. You've probably felt it yourself. That powering down, becoming one with the furniture, that classic after lunch slump, right? The food coma, post-primordial somnolence. I feel like Shakespeare whenever I say that. It just means your body's tired because it's digesting. It's fancy, but whatever. So what are we doing after lunch to make sure that people don't melt into the chair? Because whoever's coming next wants people to be up and invigorated and ready to absorb the information. You know how hard it is to talk to people that look like they're literally nodding off and falling asleep. It's so difficult, you know? It gives me so much empathy for dentists because, you know, people, when we go to the dentist, we just are like, you know, and we're kind of melting into the chair with the anesthesia. Anyways, it's rough. I can imagine it's rough. I'm not a dentist. I'm just, you know, imagining. But I know it's difficult to talk to people who are distracted, right? If you have teenagers, I'm sure you can empathize too. So what are we doing after lunch to invigorate people, to bring them back into the moment, to bring them back into their bodies, to bring them back into the group, to invigorate them so that they are ready and primed to receive that information at the deepest level of their being? Is their nervous system primed? Is their body primed? Is their brain primed, right? Or are they sleepy because they have a full tummy full of carbohydrates and, you know, way too much coffee and donuts and blah, 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 blah? What are we doing to truly support them at the deepest level as the humans that they are, as the incredible, vibrant beings that they are? So those are the 4 questions that I would love for you to consider when you're looking at how to really strategically innovate and a really exciting and creative design for your agenda that weaves in your theme, that integrates these moments of pause and inspiration so that people are using the tool that they have, that amazing body that they have, to really fully activate themselves. And you can support that by being really strategic while thinking about these questions and the answers to these questions, more so, and being able to really design your event strategically. So there are key moments where we can place these power pauses to invigorate people, to invigorate their brains, to spark innovation and creativity and focus and clarity and problem solving, if that's the direction that you need them to go. Or maybe it's to rejuvenate them so they're awake, so they're present, they're primed to receive information if you have a speaker or a trainer that's coming up after lunch. There's so many different ways that you can use these tools. They're customizable, they're versatile, and they're based in science, backed by science, right? Because we're supporting the body at the deepest level of the being when we use these tools inside the power pauses. So I hope that this gave you some food for thought and some inspiration to be really supportive of your guests, of your attendees, to weave these wellness moments into the agenda seamlessly, because it doesn't have to just bookend the day, right? We can really integrate these so there's feeling of luxury, there's feeling of excitement and connection with the guests that they're visiting with or with the other people in the room. So I am so honored to be able to share these tools with you. I hope that there was something that was insightful. Please drop a comment below to let me know what landed for you, and I'm excited to continue the conversation. Have a great rest of your day. Take good care, and reach out if you have any questions or you would like to look at how to strategically integrate power pauses into your upcoming events. Have a great rest of your day. Aloha.